All right, everyone, let's go ahead and do this. We're doing the graph of the secant and cosecant function. I know some of you guys were not here, but just follow along. Graph of the number one, 3 cosecant x. 3 cosecant x, this is related to the sine function. And the sine function, the period, and this is just a regular x, so the period is between 0 and 2 pi, right? The period is 2 pi, basically. All right, we need to split that up and split that up some more. So you got 5 markers for your 5 points for the sine. The sine starts at 0, and then you're going to go to top, which is at 3. Then go middle, 0. Bottom, which is at -3, and then middle, which is 0 again. And that's your one sine wave, right? So you can do that, right? And actually, you can, we have another period, then we're going to do the same thing. So it'd be middle, top, middle, bottom, and middle again, and then again middle, top, and that wraps it up. So I'm only going to do this once, right? But this is a sine graph. You can graph the sine in. You don't necessarily need to, because we're actually not graphing the sine, right? So this is actually, so if I was doing the sine, it would look something like this, right? But we're not actually graphing the graph of 3 sine x. We're graphing 3 cosecant x, and the cosecant function actually looks like this. You can put in some asymptotes, but basically what you have to do is just say that every time it hits a 0, it's going to create an asymptote. Every time it hits a 0, it creates an asymptote. Yeah. Try to draw the straight lines, but you don't necessarily need to draw these lines. I'm drawing it to help me kind of graph it. But once you have this, then you can go ahead and graph your cosecant, because we are talking about cosecant. So our cosecant graph is going to look something like this. It's going to be at the top of every sine and the bottom of every sine. So they just look like little parabolas at the top and at the bottom of every sine functions. This one you don't really see. Okay. So that blue graph, that's the graph of the cosecant. Right. So again, like I said, it's the graph of the sine is not necessary, and the asymptotes I can leave them on here, but it's not really necessary. Okay. But you can leave the graph of the sine there in case you just want to leave it there, just to kind of help you with the graphing. Okay. But I won't do that anymore. Okay. So -4 secant. Again, we're going to look at that the secant is related to the cosine, and the cosine, the period is going to be 2 pi. So we're going to go ahead and put in our period right here. And then we're going to split that in half. I'm going to split each of those halves into half again. So that's going to be our 5 markers to graph our cosine. So cosine starts off at the top. In this case, it's a -4. So we're going to go ahead and start off at the bottom at -4. So be bottom, and then middle, and then top, which is now 4, middle, which is 0, and then bottom. So basically, it makes it kind of like a V shape. And if you do this again, it'll be middle, top, middle, bottom, and then middle again. Right? So it'll make a V like this. Okay, that's one period. If you do another one, that'll be another period. And then it has a little bit more, right? Okay, so that's about what it is. But again, remember, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and put in my asymptotes. So this time I'll actually do the asymptotes. So the asymptotes are going to be where it hits the 0. So that's an asymptote. This is an asymptote. This is an asymptote. And remember, the asymptote just kind of helps you graph the function properly. It helps you stay within the guidelines, right? So then now I'm going to go ahead and graph my cosine, or not my cosine, my secant, which is going to be at the top and at the bottom of every of these cosine parabolas, right? So there, it's going to do this one. It's going to do this one. You do this one. Remember, try to stay within the asymptotes. So this one, you just see a little bit of it. Okay. Okay, so this one's a little different. This one's a secant. It's related to the cosine, and you know cosine starts at the top, but this one has a period. The period is gonna have to be figured out using that 4. So on this one, we're gonna go ahead and do period is equal to 2 pi divided by 4, and when you work that out, it comes down to pi over 2. So your period is pi over 2. Okay, so because of that 4, your period now becomes pi over 2, which means that when I draw in my asymptotes, it's going to be very small. Okay, it's going to be as small as pi over 2. So here's my period. It's from there to there, and now I need to split that into 4 parts. So draw a line in the middle, and a line in each of those middle, and that's my 5 markers for my graph of my secant. My secant is related to the cosine, so it's going to be top. Cosine starts at top, middle, bottom, middle, and top. And cosine looks like a V, right? And if I have a lot more space like how I do, then I got to do a couple more V's, right? So I got to do middle, bottom, middle, top, middle, bottom, middle, top. And each time I do a V, it's going to take the span of a period, or sorry, half of a pi, not a period, half of a pi. So it'd be top, middle, bottom, middle, top, right? And from there, I'm just going to go ahead and every time it hits the middle, I'm going to go ahead and draw in some asymptotes or very light asymptotes just to kind of help me um, do these um, uh, little parabolas, right? So I have an asymptote here, 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 and here. Right? And if I had another one over here, it would be right here. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead and draw my parabolas. Okay, my parabolas are going to be at the top and at the bottom. So on this one right here, it's going to be like that. And on this one, it's going to, and remember the asymptotes help you draw it because you cannot go outside of the asymptote. That, like that, like this. So at every bottom, you draw a parabola. At every top, you draw a parabola. Bottom, you draw a parabola. Top, you draw a parabola. And this one, you will probably see this side right here. Okay, and right here, you probably see like this side also. Okay, actually more like just a little bit. Okay, because you will have a point down here. We didn't actually do that one, but you have a point right here. Okay, and then the last one, number 4. Again, we're gonna have to figure out. Oh, not the last one, number 4. We have to figure out the period because there is a number with the x, so we're gonna have to do a period. 2 pi over 1/3. So when you work that out, you get 6 pi. Amplitude is 6 pi. Or excuse me, period is 6 pi. So from here to here.
We'll be meeting right in the cafeteria at this time. The weight room is open for all students until 5:30. Glass Painting Club and Origami Club are meeting in room 703.
Take half of
In
that.
the library, we have Gaming Club, Chess Club,
half of that,
Lego Club, Virtual
and half of
Reality
that.
Club, and 3D Printing Club. The library is open for
And this
all
is cosecant. So cosecant is related to the sine.
4:45 and 6 o'clock late bus.
Sine is middle, top, middle, bottom, middle. And if I'm going to do the other side, and it's going to be bottom right here, So every 3, so right now I'm in the middle. So every 3, I'm going to go down 1. And then every 3, I'm going to go middle. Every 3, I'm going to go top. And every 3, I'm going to go middle. Okay, so that's my sine for with that particular period. And then again, every time you see where it hits the 0, you're going to go ahead and draw your asymptote. So there's a 1 asymptote, 2 asymptote, 3 asymptote, 4. Oops, that one's a little off. 4, and there's 1 more asymptote. And then you're just going to draw your parabola sitting on the top and on the bottom. So right here, we will have 1 sitting right on top, and it will look like this. This one, we will have it sitting but down below, and it will look like this. This one on top, this one below. Okay. And over here, you may see one, like you may see like that part of it. And over here, you may see this part of it. Okay. But other than that, okay, number 5. This has an amplitude and a period. So this one, the period,
Mark Hurst,
2
please
pi divided by
contact the front
2,
office.
period is pi.
Mark Hurst, please contact the front office.
So I'm going to go ahead and do the period, which is going to be from here to here. Wow, that's very small. So split that in half. I got that. And split each of those in half, which is like the middle. Okay. So that's very, very tricky right there. Okay. And then cosecant is related to the sine. And sine starts off at the first marker and at 0. The middle marker is going to be at 3. So top, middle, bottom, which is at -3, and then middle again. Okay. And it's going to keep doing that. So middle, top, middle, bottom, middle, top, middle, bottom, middle, top, middle, bottom, middle. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So that's going to be bottom, middle, top, middle, bottom, middle, top, middle, bottom, middle, top, middle, bottom, middle, top, middle. Okay, and I have some more, so middle and or bottom and middle. Okay, so that's how it's gonna look like, and every single one of these has an asymptote. And actually, this one's so tight, I'm not even drawing any asymptotes in. Just remember, every time it hits a 0, that's where your asymptote is gonna be at. So this one's gonna live in between here and between here only. That's where the 2 dots are. This one's gonna live between here and between here. This one's gonna live between here and here, here, and here. You see, I'm just freehanding it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you gotta try your best though. Between here and here, between here and here. Okay, so it sits between these 2 lines. So this one between these 2 lines. And if you want, you can do all the ones on top first. That way you kind of get the hang of it. And then you can do all the ones on the bottom next. And this one you would probably see like just that much. Okay, and then you can do all the ones on the bottom. Oh, and this one you would probably see from this side also. Just 1/2 of it. There, 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 and there. Okay. Okay, last one. This one is negative. It's a secant related to cosine. And let's figure out the period. Period is 2 pi divided by that number, which is 2/3. Right? Multiply both sides by 3/2. And these cancel and these cancel. So your period is actually just 3 pi. So if I'm going to go do this, it's going to be from 0 to 3 pi, and that's 1 whole period. And then split that in half, and split each of these halves, which is in the middle, in halves again. Okay, it's the middle. Okay, make sure you understand that. Okay, and if I'm going to do my sine function, Sine starts at in the middle, and then you go to top. In this case, it's -4, so you're gonna go to the bottom. So at this right middle here, you're gonna bottom, middle. At this middle here, or in halfway between, it's gonna be top, and then be back to the middle. Okay, and that's one complete period. But now we're gonna do it again because we got a little bit more space over here. Some of you guys are leaving that blank, and when I see it like that, I'm not gonna give you full credit. So we got middle again, and then so we're gonna start over. So it looks like it's every 1.5 you go and do the next thing. So every 1.5, so bottom, 1.5 middle, 1.5 top, 1.5 middle. Okay. And again, I'm just gonna go ahead and draw, and just keep in mind that these middle over here, this one right here, this one right here, these are all gonna be your asymptotes. Okay, imagine there's a line that goes up and down. Okay, so right here, I'm gonna go ahead and draw, and it's gonna kind of follow that, and it's gonna follow that. This one's gonna follow that one, and that one. This one's gonna follow that. Ooh, a little short on that one. Follow that one. Okay, and then on this other side, you might see a little bit over here. Okay, and on this one, you might see a little bit down here. Okay, that's pretty much it. All right. See you guys later.